My lady, my baby.
Good morning. Good to see you folks again. Here we are. You know who I am, and I think you know who he is, and I hope
Yep.
you know who that guy is.
And I'm still the same guy I was. my name is Pete Hexhead. Hey, this will
You
just
don't
be a
want to
show.
send me that text. I
Hey,
was wondering-
this will just be a show about lying. Let's just lie the whole time. It's
All right,
it's
I
it's
like
just
that.
mainstream. You know what I mean?
All right, who you gonna be, Craig?
Um, I'm not going to be Tulsi.
You oh,
I'll be the CIA guy. I didn't make no mistake. He didn't make no mistake.
hey. So Dave, that leaves okay. So that only leaves one role for you. I'm sorry, the other two have been chosen. We need a transgender, so that's you.
Tulsi Dave.
Hey, I think all any of us need is a red nose and some big shoes, and we can be any of them clowns.
And no shit. I mean, serious on the real tip. Either one of the three of us could do better than the people that they have in office.
Incredible. I
Yeah.
so agree, and not to put us down intellectually, but that isn't saying much. If
Uh,
those are supposed to be, if those are supposed to be representative of some of our best, oh my goodness, we are
and
in trouble.
yeah. It's you know you try to you try. I don't even feel like we're really being governed right now. I feel like I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's
Well,
like
you know
I
what?
feel like they don't even know what's going on.
I saw a Western once. It's kind of reminded me of that. All these guys were going to go, they were cattle rustlers, and they went to steal a herd of cattle from these good guys, right? And the cattle rustlers really didn't know what the hell they were doing. So they were coming from every which way trying to push the cattle away from the guys. But some were coming on this side, some on this side. And they just kind of got all mixed up going every which way, man. And the cattle, they didn't know what the hell was going on. They just heard the howling and the run, and they were told to run. So they ran. That's what cattle do. They could have been sheep. I don't know if it might have been sheep, but it seems like the same thing's happening right now. We got a bunch of sheep who are running to a call by their herder. And no matter what he says, no matter what he does, they will start running in his direction. Go this way. No, go that way. Jump. Don't jump. Get a parachute. Oh, the hell with a parachute. Just jump.
Hey, you'll stop eventually.
He will. He will stop.
So
Hey,
just
and if you're
just
not nice
imagine
to him, you may just end up stopping right over Venezuela. Okay, we may just drop you
just
out of a plane
imagine
over Venezuela.
in a real situation, that you're sitting in a meeting and this is going on, right? And somebody says, "Oh, by the way, in our Signal chat, we included a reporter from the Atlantic." You would say, "What?" It's like it's like you can't make this up. And the line of defense is, first of all, you try to discredit the guy, and all of this. It's like our adversaries, Russia, China, North Korea, looking at us and saying, the United States and our allies, it's like, wow, that
Well, we have a situation where
we
in
do
the
have a
White
situation.
well, and the whole management of that White House staff is untenable. They're not gonna be able to reel that shit in because there's too much stupidity there. So there's always gonna be somebody doing major screw ups in
Well,
that
even
in
if
that.
I love your point, Marvin,
Yeah.
because even if they don't, what they've created is an air of doubt, regardless of what their decision is, right or wrong. Now they've created this air of doubt in the citizenry, that no matter what they do, we think they don't know what they're doing.
No. And they're talking, these guys are the ultimate fucking DEIs. They are the ultimate. They got hired because of how much ass they would kiss. They were chosen for their ass kissing abilities, and that's it. And they're talking about DEI. We would probably be better off.
Marvin, they were chosen because they're white.
Right. Yes.
This is what too many white folks can do.
Yeah. Well, see, and you think about the fact that, okay, the country is about 52% white right now. And 40% of Congress is white, of our governing, ruling people. I think 40% is white men. So most of the people running this shit is white men, and they're fucking shit
let's
up.
talk about that for a minute, because I hear what you're saying, and I agree with the conclusion that is what it is. That's what's going on. And I agree with that. But for me, the problem is looking to these people at their color base and judging their character on their color base. White. Let's take that, for example. Let's just say white. And judging them across the board generally based on that. My problem with that is that there's a lot of good people there that are white that are not like that.
No, they're not. There's none of them are good. Because I'll tell you why.
Well, wait a minute. There's white people in the Democratic Party there's white people in the Independent Party.
I'm talking.
But are you talking about just Republicans?
Yeah, I'm talking about Republicans.
Okay.
And MAGA.
Okay.
Yeah, because if there were any good ones, they'd be voting against some of the stupid shit Trump does, and none of them do. And,
You're absolutely right.
They're motivated by white supremacy. They're motivated by, last time we had this podcast, I remember you said, David, we can't blame it on one person, but we can. If you look at the sentiments from around the world, Canada, Greenland, everybody, Europe, China, even Russia, they say that it's Trump. It's Trump. It's one person.
Right.
It's one person. Right. He's doing the bidding for a bunch of people.
You're absolutely right. However, the voters of him got him there. You can't deny that, and
but I mean, it's
you can't have it both ways. Either it's all the white Republicans doing this, or it's just Trump.
No.
I'm just messing with you, man.
What I'm saying
I'm
is,
just messing with you,
because I'm saying is he's the captain of the ship. He's the captain of the ship.
You're absolutely right.
And all them other idiots are in the back, in the engine room, in the navigation room, in the communication room, and they're out there doing their white supremacist shit from there.
How many times do you think a ship left harbor and afterwards the sailors, the people who were in that doing that what you just described, realized that they got Captain Bligh on board?
Yeah.
Okay? Now those are the guys we're looking for, because I sincerely believe in my heart that there are Republican people out there who do not agree with this shit.
Oh,
who are absolutely appalled, and they may have voted for him both times. But they are now appalled. And what I'm calling on those people to do right now is to stand up and admit they did this and they were wrong, and to change party. Become independent if you don't want to be a Democrat, but leave the Republican Party. Do not donate to the Republican Party. Do not endorse any Republican candidates. Solely and exclusively center yourself around what is right and just.
What happened to Craig?
We just lost Craig Garrity. Craig,
you there?
Craig Ahrens.
Oh, okay.
Craig Ahrens. We just lost him. I don't know what happened to him. And he's running the show, so it's kind of strange.
But hey, keep going what you're saying, though, with your thought.
But you see what I'm saying? I think it's important that at this point in time, we quit calling ourselves Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and call ourselves Americans and stand up for our Constitution. Because I totally agree with everything you said, Marvin, everything. And I was just making fun earlier. What I think is at this point in time, the most important and challenging thing for us is, one, we got to quit blaming Republican people who were fooled by this carpetbagging shyster. We got to quit blaming them. We got to start helping them forgive themselves and say, hey, I was wrong. I've made wrong choices in my life, many. And the one thing I've always appreciated is when I can say, hey, I did that wrongly. And somebody says, no worries. Well, let's move on. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those Republicans who can do that, because they're not Republicans. They're Americans, just like me, just like you, just like Craig, just like every other voter in this country. And speaking of voting, just to segue real quick here, I am so unreal sick of what this guy's now trying to do, change the Constitution and the right to vote based on what he thinks is his executive order authority. He's so full of crap. I can't believe that he thinks he can do that. He can't do that.
They don't want women to vote. They want to turn back time, man. They want black people. They want a slave class. They want a slave class.
Exactly right. You were exactly right. And maybe let's change that for a minute, because they're going to say, well, wait a minute. There's no slaves here. There's no chains on anybody.
We're slaves.
Well, here's another word. How about indentured servitude? Where we become subservient to them to a point where we owe the government. He's talking about doing that in mandatory military service at the age of 18 before you can have the right to do certain things, which will be one, voting, which will be the right to do other things, enter schools. You watch what they're doing, and you're so right. They're trying to create a slave working class in this supposed land of the free. It's bullshit. And we need to speak up now. So again, getting back to my other point about Republican people, quit calling yourself Republicans, call yourself Americans. Start doing the right thing.
But see, that's the problem, though, Dave. That now we're gone. Okay, the whole thing with call yourself Americans. Okay, check it out. They think they're uber Americans. They think the patriot is the most American of everybody. They think they're more American than everybody else. They call themselves patriots. They're patriots, and they wanted to burn down the freaking White House. They're patriots, and they wanted to hang Pence. They're not patriots. They're not even Americans. They're freaking seditionists, and they should have all been put in prison. They're traitors. They not
were
Americans.
Put in prison, but their leader let them out.
The Republicans that are complicit with it and that are not doing anything about it, they're just as bad as the insurrectionists.
I totally agree.
So they're criminal Americans.
And you know what he's trying to do now, don't you? He's trying to get them paid. He's trying to get them funded, give them reparations for being arrested, incarcerated.
No way.
Yes, that's what he's trying to do right now, man. Right.
What the fuck?
Exactly. And guess who will that burden will fall to? The American public. So not only does he want to slap us in the face and tell us this is my little army, because that's really what he's doing. He's trying to create funding sources to create his little army.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to give them all money. He's going to buy their loyalty, and he's going to arm them.
That's exactly. For sure.
These are his brown shirts. Only we get to call them red hats, because the red armband that they wore then in the Nazi regime of Hitler has just been stuck on the head. It's just a red hat now. That's all it is to the Nazi regime of Trump.
And you know, but that's why we need to get involved. We need to get involved and help, because, you know, I was watching Buttigieg, and, you know, there's some good people coming out saying stuff. Democrats. And, you know, he was saying, you know, this is just 3 months in, and look at all the protests. It's just going to get bigger. And
yes.
once the kids get out of school,
it's going to explode.
It's going to explode. And I figure around summer, we're going to have marches of 50,000 or more people. And because if I'm motivated and I ain't gone out on a march in freaking decades, but I'm starting again, it proves something. And before I did it, because I was learning how to do it. It was fun. Now I'm doing it because it's necessary.
Let's talk about that a minute. You and Craig both have recently gone on protest marches. Craig, you were in Southern California doing it. What were you doing down there?
Yeah, well, Marvin, after our last podcast, I've gone to 3 in Southern California here.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, man, and I had to look into it. Now, realizing I have never done this as an independent, like I mentioned on the last podcast, it's hard to find any independent anything. So I looked into this, and Laguna Beach Democrats are very active in Orange County. And so I've gone to 2 in Irvine, and one was, and the third was this protest at a Tesla dealership and all of that,
Yeah.
And then I went to my first town hall, and it was Ro Khanna from your neck of the woods, and he was just terrific. He had 3 town halls: Bakersfield, Norco, and he finished in Anaheim. He was there for, oh my gosh, every bit of maybe 2 hours. He took every question. Several were plants from Republicans, and people were booing the Republican plants. He said, no, let them ask their questions. And he was graceful. He took everybody's question, even Republicans, and he answered them. And he wasn't just a generic answer. He really answered the questions, the Republican questions. He turned them around, and he was able to show the flaws with their line of thinking. My guess is he's probably going to be running for governor. I have to think that he. I don't know. We'll see. But I really enjoyed the protest rallies, and what I enjoyed, Marvin, that when I showed up for my first rally, as soon as I got out of my car, I realized I don't have a sign. What do I do? Right? And so this woman, really helpful, as I said, hey, excuse me, I should have brought a sign, right? And she goes, well, yeah, but, she goes, but I have signs. She goes, here. She goes, pick a sign. And she goes, last weekend was my first rally, but she had all these signs, right? She goes, just take one. So I took a sign. And what struck me, that there were so many people there that this was their first rally. And so what it told me is that people were getting engaged that have never been engaged before, man. And so the last 2 I've gone to, were
there any Republicans?
What's that?
And
some were Republicans. Now, the Tesla one, which was interesting. Now, this didn't happen this last Sunday. Some guys came in from Riverside, like biker guys, and were Republicans, and like bikers that had voted for Trump, and saying that they were pissed off that they supported Trump, and they were upset that they had voted for Trump. I didn't see any Sunday that were noticeable, but they certainly were at the Tesla rally. So, like to your point, David, I'm going to make more of a point in engaging with people and finding out their affiliation. But it seems like there's a bit of a groundswell, at least that there were at the Tesla rally, of Republicans that were showing up that were dissatisfied and joining in. So, yeah, but I just noticed a lot of people that were coming out that had never done a rally before. That and the rally I went to the last 2 Sundays, it's growing. I mean, there were more people than certainly 100, and they're growing.
Hey, Craig, now tell me something, man. I don't know about you, but didn't you leave there feeling really proud of yourself?
Yeah. No, the first time I have to tell you, and for anybody watching this, the first one I went to, I feel like everybody knew what was going on except me. Like, what do I do? Where do I go? I felt everybody's looking at me like, well, that's the new guy. But I felt like everybody had to do the rules. Then I realized there is no rules. That you just jump, you just
show up.
You just show up. And so many people were just like me. Were there by themselves, just there by themselves. All ages, from 20s to 80s, just there. So I after my first one, I thought, all right, I got this. So you just fit in the lineup. And the main thing is, like you're saying, Marvin, just be there. just show up, be there. And
because it's
let me
the
add
numbers.
this. It's
Sorry, go
numbers
ahead.
game. What I was going to say was impressive that in this area of Irvine, so many people driving that area own Teslas. They were honking, they were supporting, and they had these stickers. What do they say? Like, I bought my Tesla before I
became a
knew he
Nazi.
was a. But there's some things like that, right? Like,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
hate me. I think that, but a lot of support from people driving by, and a lot of support from Tesla car owners. Yeah.
Well, you said they were all ages. The one I went to when we went to the Tesla headquarters, I met the Raging Grannies. Have you guys ever heard of the Raging Grannies? These ladies they organized decades ago. They've been going to protest for like 40 years together, and they call themselves the Raging Grannies. I got a picture of them. I stood there and talked to them. They're fascinating to talk to because they hate the guy too, but they've always been involved in progressive politics. And I remember hearing about them, but I never met them. So I met the Raging Grannies. I mean, those types of things, when you go, your body is more important than what you have to say, right? Because your body is showing what you have to say. You being there shows that you're in sync with the reason everybody else is there, right?
Yeah.
So you don't really have to say anything. You just got to be there.
Yeah.
And I've always just had it's a thrill to me. I used to dig the hell out of it.
There's a
you know what I'll send to you, David, this real quick. I'll send to you when I was in Anaheim, where I was positioned. Roll Khan was kind of working his way down to the stage, and I had my iPhone. I was just filming this, so he happened just to cross right in front of me, and I was filming it live, or not live, but I was taping it, and we shook hands. And he goes, "Hey, it's nice to meet you." I said, "Nice to meet you too." So I have the actual video, so I'll send it to you. So it's pretty cool. So I was able to capture him live, but he was really a cool guy. He met a lot of people. So he, he did a lot of good going to Anaheim, and that's a very red district, as you could probably imagine. So he went right, and same with Norco and Bakersfield. So he went right in. He went into as red of an area that you could possibly go into. So
Norco and Bakersfield. Yeah, that's Methville.
Good for him. Yeah.
That's cool.
There's a big rally supposed to be held up here at the state capitol. I think it's
5th?
April 5th or April 5th.
I'll be there. That's the one I've been waiting for.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely, man. You come up here, we'll go together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go up there,
go see what's going on.
throw some rocks. No, I'm just joking.
No,
because we're all on the same team. But yeah, it's we gotta march. We gotta march.
And I'll just say for anybody here in Orange County that's watching this, for us in this area on April 5th, it's a county-wide protest, if you will, and it's at the Santa Ana Sasser Park. I'm not exactly sure where that is. It's 600 West Santa Ana Boulevard in Santa Ana, beginning at 1 p.m. So kind of in the center of Orange County.
Well, I wish I would have known that because I was telling Dave Craig that, let's see, last week I said, well, I need more information. So I went ahead and joined the Democratic National Committee, right? So now I get a list of all of the town halls, all the protests that the Democrats are involved in. And I should have had it in front of me, because that's a good idea to read off those dates and the locations on this podcast, so we can get the word out there.
Yes.
So next time I'll be prepared.
Yeah, and everybody should show up. Anybody who's an American, who voted, who cares. It doesn't matter what affiliation you have, what religion you are, what color you are, what's your sexuality. Nobody cares. Show up.
But another thing, there's some of them are virtual, right? Some of these town halls are virtual; they're online. but it's still like for people who are homebound or people who don't have
There you
transportation,
go.
they can still involve themselves.
Right.
They have opportunities for you to phone bank and call folks and get their
How do you
input.
get that information though? Who would you contact to get that?
Okay, well, like in the Democrat National Committee, all I would have to do is if I wanted to phone bank, I click here and they hook me up, and they probably make it so that you can
How do
make
you
phone.
contact the Democratic National Committee?
I email. Just type in Democrat National Committee, Google it, and then you'll find their website, and it'll say join us. I'm wise because I'm not rich, so they're gonna ask you for money. They can get it from Oprah because I ain't got money to give right now. But they're gonna ask you for money, but you don't have to give any. But you still get the information.
Gotcha.
And I think it's fun. I really do. I think that
And important.
Yeah.
extremely because we're exercising our rights. If you don't use them, they take them away.
Amen.
So we got to use them. I mean, he's trying to make protesting illegal.
Well, what you just said was so important, Marvin, because what you just said exemplifies straight up what happened in this last election. People didn't exercise their right to vote and they sat it out. And as a result, we're now doing this shit, having to fight against this tyranny that's evolving in our government, this incredible misuse of power. Oh my God. Because some of you Americans out there thought you were being smart. I'm not going to vote. And said, I'm just mad because he's not going to help my people who are overseas. You don't live overseas, folks. You live here. You live here. And your decisions affect your neighbors who may not know anybody overseas.
Yeah.
Your decisions need to be here. I get the other causes, the world causes. I get that. And I'm certainly empathetic to those causes. But my point is, when you vote, you have to understand your vote affects you and your neighbor right here.
When you vote or don't vote.
Yeah, or you don't vote. Thank you, Marvin.
Did I give you guys tell you guys the story about my Vietnamese friend that the convict? He came here when he was 5 with his parents, and he never became a citizen, right?
Oh.
And so he ended up getting in trouble. He had to do some jail time, about 8 years, but got out. He changed his life. While he was in, his wife stayed by his side. She had a trucking company. So now they have this trucking company. They own a couple of buildings in San Francisco. They're landlords. That's how I met him. Mm-hmm. And then he's been working for Recology for about 10, 15 years. So they've changed their lives, right? And he was telling me about, he's kind of, he's worried because he's one of the people they want to go
alien and he might be deported.
Yeah. 2 of his friends are sitting in Panama right now. One of them owned 2 restaurants, and another, they were both guys that had cleaned up their lives, but they're in Panama now in limbo because what happened was when they were going to ship them back to Vietnam said no, and then Trump put tariffs, and they said okay, right? So Vietnam started letting them, but these guys were already in Panama, and they still haven't moved them to Vietnam, and then. Because he's saying that Vietnam don't want us back. And my boy doesn't know anyone in Vietnam. So
you know what? That's happened to so
it's
many
like a death sentence.
People here in this country. That's an old story. That story's been going on since the 30s here in these United States with Mexicans. They've been taking them, rounding them up, shipping them off someplace where they don't know anybody, dropping them off in the desert. Here, go home. Well, I was home. What are you talking about?
Well, but this guy, he educated himself. So he said he went to a Vietnamese shopping center before the election, and some freaking Vietnamese was waving the Confederate flag and the Trump flag, doing this shit. He said he went up to him and grabbed the Confederate flag, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it. And he said he told the guy, "You know what the F that means?" He goes, and then he went on to explain what it meant. And then he goes, wow. And then he said he's like got a bunch of people listening now because he's kind of a big Vietnamese guy. And then he told the guy, He goes, you ever heard of John McCain? He goes, I'll tell you who John McCain is. And he went down to tell how John McCain was instrumental in getting the Vietnamese to be able to come here.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. And he was talking to, the other day we were talking, he goes, what they're doing in Venezuela, it's worse than communism. The dumb Vietnamese ran from communism. They talk about communism. What we're doing is way worse than communism. Communists ain't doing no shit like this.
China right now, funny you bring that up. China right now excels in technology,
everything,
in transportation, in communication,
even the way they treat their people,
and healthcare.
Yeah.
Okay. Their infrastructure is pretty damn solid. Okay. How they take care of stuff, how they build stuff, how they keep refurbishing their infrastructure on a continual basis. We do not, because we spend most of our money on military needs. That's right, building weapons. And interestingly enough, China's not engaged in a war in a long time. They've been warring
40 years.
Yeah, exactly right. They've been warring on a technological basis with the world, basically, and primarily the United States and Russia. And as a result of that, we, the United States, focusing strictly on how big a bomb, how many we can make, we've left all those other things to the wayside, therefore depleting our knowledge base, our skills base, the people that were producing their educational values, their abilities, not up to par, not at the world level of all the major countries, that's for sure. And that's sad. That's sad. They have free healthcare and stuff.
That's what I was going to say. China, before they make a lot of the decision, now they're not the pinnacle of human rights, right?
Well, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not talking.
No. Yeah. Let me finish. And so I'm not saying that they're this pinnacle of human rights, right? However, before they make decisions, they consider the impact on the citizenry, and they also take the people into consideration before they do. That's why they're more focused on their country instead of every other country.
Let me comment on that historically relative to China. China historically has always made their plans called a 100-year plan. Now, I don't know if people are aware of this. They don't plan for 20 years down the line, 10 years, 100 years, 5 generations. They plan ahead. That's how China works its whole system. They have a 100-year plan. Okay, we don't. We're short-sighted as hell. You could tell by Trump being in office. That's the greediest, stupidest, illiterate. Oh my God, I can't believe we have that idiot who's, we're going to do this. Oh, I'm going to take that back. No, we're still going to do it. Oh, I got to take it back. I'll take it back. I didn't mean that.
Well,
yeah.
But communism, I mean, China and the success that it's having is making democracy look bad.
Yes.
The Communist Party in China is making our democracy look very.
Let me qualify that. I don't think it's making democracy look bad. It makes our economy, our economic structure look bad. We don't know what we're doing. It makes the governance of our democracy bad. Right now, what's happening for me isn't our democracy's bad. It's who's working it. It's who's there. It's who's destroying it. We went through this turmoil. We went from a pretty solid economy just 3-4 months back to this.
But see, just like Marxist Leninist theory or socialism, communism, they're economic
right
theories, right?
Theories.
Democracy's economic, communism, they're all economic.
All of it is. Politics is always economic.
Yes, they're making capitalism look bad. They're making the capitalist system that we currently have look really bad because it only works for a few people.
Exactly right, Marvin. I totally agree. And capitalism and democracy are two different things. Okay, and I want to be very clear on that. Democracy is an ideology of governance of the people. Capitalism is an economic structure on how to get and obtain and maintain money, period, wealth, period. That's what capitalism is about. It has nothing to do with the social structure. Capitalism is an I, me, self-gratifying structure of obtaining wealth, period. Nothing else.
But see, under our system,
don't get me wrong,
under our system is what they call the democracy. Those go hand in hand. Well, you just said capitalism and the financial aspect of it, and the democracy, the governance, they go hand in hand. And if it's run by white supremacists, they do become one.
You're absolutely right. And guess what? Interestingly enough, as you know, politics is based on the distribution of wealth, the money, who's going to get it and why. That's all politics is about, the money and who's getting it and why. Now, given that, and given capitalism based on this absurd notion of self-wealth to the extreme that it is today, obviously, we have representatives in our institutions poising that as truth. It's bullshit, because democracy says it's about everybody. So there's a conflict right off the top. Capitalist goals with a democratic socialist structure. Oh man, there and that's the Republican Democratic. And here's what kills me: the Republicans in the red states, they obtain the majority of all social benefits in this democracy.
Right.
They get more welfare, more fundamental money grants for education and health subsidies, etc., than any other state.
But we haven't been a true democracy for decades. We're like Absolutely. A plutocracy right now. We're an oligarchy, right?
Yeah, and verging on who knows what.
No, we're verging on what's that word? Fascist, a fascist state.
Yeah, dictatorship.
Yeah, dictatorship.
He wants to run again there's assholes coming across saying we should allow him to run for a third term. I don't think so. That is fundamental in the structure of the Constitution and its formation. That principle right there was one of the we don't need any long-term egos in power. That's
we don't need any madmen, and that's what we got.
And we have to have the ability to remove them.
Yeah, and see, that's why I believe after this, if the Democrats don't push for more Supreme Court justices, if the Democrats don't push for more oversight justices and over the president, and they don't get rid of that goddamn immunity, because that's what's empowered that fool. That's what's empowering everyone who works for him.
Well, actually, let me talk about that for just a minute, because yes and no. Let's first clarify what this immunity is that they have clarified, as he's already inherent in the executive branch. Anything in the executive branch that's already outlined in the Constitution is his power. And he can, by executive order, he can do certain things. And they are legal. For example, he can send troops to kill somebody. If somebody, like they did, start a war with us and invade us, he can call the troops and we can kill those people through executive order. He doesn't need a legislative enactment. Don't get me wrong, they'll do a declaration of war eventually in quick time through a legislative enactment, but nonetheless, he can call that. And that is a criminal act, but excused because of. So his powers can exonerate him or hold him non-liable in certain situations, no matter what. So I don't have a problem with that. What he's doing right now is way beyond that. That's why he has all these lawsuits floating. There's so many lawsuits floating right now. There's so many TROs that are jumping in. Oh, there's some that are not being taken down too, because they can't. It flies in the face of the Constitution, like the 14th Amendment, the First Amendment, these other things he's trying to restrict, these voting things. He can't do that because that's all legislatively incorporated into the constitutional powers through Congress.
Yeah, but
the judiciary stopping him, and that's what their check and balance is about right now.
Yeah, they're mad about
absolutely
that
right.
too.
And you're right. I know what you're going to say. The Supreme Court is backed in his favor. But look at what they've been doing. The
They're
last
stopping him.
couple of ones, I couldn't believe they actually sided against him and said, nope, he's gone beyond.
A judge on one side of the country, a judge on the other said the same exact thing.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was I love that when they did that. And more of it has to happen. These people have to douse their fear, right? Like, okay, like that Jasmine Crockett, she speaks out, right?
Yep.
She's getting death threats, right? The
Yeah.
Republicans that don't speak out against Trump, they've said anonymously that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid for their lives. They're afraid for their families' lives because Trump's followers are so twisted.
That's why he's arming and going to pay all those criminals he let out of prison. That's exactly right, Marvin. And that's what we need to be fearful of, I think, that this piece of shit is going to produce his own army and keep him under wraps. So when shit hits the fan, because it's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to. And when it does, he's going to call his little army to be. You watch. And what he's going to do, he's going to use a posse comitatus type of law, which will allow him to just deputize people and make them paramilitary under his authority right now. Just like
when was the last time they used posse comitatus? They've never used it, have they?
They've used it off and on. Yeah, it's especially during formative years here in the country.
Yeah, in the beginning. But not recently.
Not recently, but look at what he just pulled out of the hat. Come on, that 18, what was it? I forgot the year that law was enacted. And active.
Oh,
vote.
Yeah,
Alien Enemies Act. The Alien Enemies Act. We don't have, and they try, well, they're a gang. They're really here by proxy for the Venezuelan government.
Well, look at he removed Jackie Robinson because they said he was a DEI hire. That's they got rid of they wanted to take the Tuskegee Airmen. They want to take the Tuskegee Airmen out because they're saying they're DEI. DEI didn't even exist back then. What the fuck? It's just straight, plain racist, and it's blatant, right in our face.
Right up, white supremacy.
Yep.
It's they ought to just put the hood back on, cut the crap, so that we have a good target.
No, now they wear they wear beige pack khakis and white shirts or blue shirts or something like that. They don't wear the hood no more. They don't mind showing their face because Trump made it okay to be a racist. So
it's true. This is true.
They don't even hide their faces.
Yeah, as long as they got that red hat on.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the same as the hood. That's the new hood.
If I was a Republican, I'd be afraid to be running around with that hat. I'd be afraid that somebody's going to knock me in the head, try to knock some sense into me.
I was watching this video, and there was this guy with one of those hats on. He was in Disneyland, and he's over. I dare someone to come and try and take it off. Dude, you're in the happiest place in the world, and you still mad. They mad about every goddamn thing. Republicans is always fucking mad. So he goes to the happiest place in the world, and he wants to fight somebody over his dumbass hat. It's like they're twisted, man.
You know what he needs to ride in the teacups. That's what he needs.
But the bottom line is our country's motivated by hate, and it's ruled by a racist, and we have to stop it. And we have to be on the vanguard, at least in one way, shape, or form. And like I was talking the other day, I engage everyone. I swear to you. The other day I went to the store I got a mail PO box. There's 3 young kids that work there. They all look under 25. And I said, and there's nobody else, there's no customers, just the 3 workers. And I go, are you guys paying attention to what's going on? I said, we got an idiot in the White House, and they all just kind of mumbled, So I realized that they're not that engaged in the politics. I said, you guys need to be worried about it. I said, my generation fucked this country up. I said, the reason this country is in turmoil right now and we're so screwed up is because of my generation. I said, so you guys got to fix it. It's up to you guys to fix it. You need to start. And I went down this list, go to meetings. You need to find out what's happening and get active.
Okay, I'm gonna comment on your statement. I agreed up to the point where you blamed our generation. That's bullshit. That wasn't our generation, not my generation, not the one that I went to high school with you with. Or
The baby
Greg's generation.
boomers. I'm talking about Trump's a
Baby
baby
boomers didn't
boomer.
blow this shit up. This
Yeah, the
isn't
boomers,
our
the boomers,
generation who's doing this.
everybody that's fucking up right now, they're all boomers.
You know what? Look at all those young guys. Headseth is no boomer.
But Trump put
No,
his
but
ass
all of
in
his
there.
followers are not. His
Graham,
followers are all a
Lindsey
bunch of
Graham,
young
Lindsey
guys,
Graham,
man.
Nancy Pelosi, all those fossils. They're all freaking boomers. Sure, we got a group of new people, but the people who got us to where we are now, Hexas just came on the scene.
Wait a minute. Well, I'm going to make a blanket statement just for you. Over the past, I would say, 5 or 6 presidential terms where Democrats have won the White House, they left the White House after their terms always with a surplus, never a deficit. Every term that the Republicans had won, when they left, there was always a deficit.
You're talking about money.
No, I know, but wait a minute. Let me make my point. Okay, so what I saw was Democrats who, over the past several generations, our lifetime, okay, the 5 terms, we'll just call it every 4 years, right? The ones that won did really well. Maybe their politics were screwed. Okay, Lewinsky or whatever her name was in the White House with homeboy blowing the saxophone. All right, there were scandals, there was things going on, but never did they go to war, including Obama. Obama had an incredible. Now, I know a lot of people say he was a sellout and he didn't do the shit he should have done and could have done, but he was also fighting an uphill battle with a full Republican Senate and a full-on Republican Supreme Court. So he had a lot ahead of him. But my point is, I will not sit here and listen to somebody say our generation screwed it all up.
Our generation did, whether you want to believe it or not. Because think of it. Look at our age.
Okay.
No. Seriously, I'm 70 something.
You're 72. Gonna be.
Yeah, I'm 70. I'll be 72 this year. And
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham and all them, they're all fucking baby boomers. And the politics of the last 40 years have been done by baby boomers, and the country has gone to where from 40 years ago to where it is now because of baby boomers. The environment.
Yeah, but it wasn't all bad.
Listen.
I tried to make a distinction between Republicans and Democrats based on the economics. That the economic systems in place during the Democratic control was always good. The Republicans always bad. So
I'm not
let's
talking
make a
about parties.
distinction. Baby boomer Republicans.
I'm talking about in general. No, because the Democrats are just as bad. To me, there shouldn't even be a different name. They're all just suck because of the fact that if the Democrats were any good, we wouldn't have bad Republicans. If the Democrats were stronger, we'd have a stronger country. But the fact is that the age of the people is what places them in a baby boomer category, right? So who's making the decisions? Clinton was a baby boomer. Obama was a boomer. All of them are boomers. Bush, all boomers.
Were they all bad?
That's not the point. That's because because it's not just at the top. We're talking the EPA. We're talking all of the other different decisions that have been made by freaking baby boomers.
Everybody.
Yeah. So the country in general has suffered because of decisions made by boomers. That's all I'm saying. Why do we have almost 800 bases around the world? The closest to it is Russia with 4. China has none. China is going around the world, though, helping countries. China's in Panama. China's in Africa. China's doing stuff that we used to do. Now China's doing it. Now,
Absolutely
and we're mad about it.
Absolutely right.
And then we want to take over Iceland with Greenland, 56 fewer people than in Gilroy or in Greenland. They want to take it over. Canada only has Canada doesn't 100-something thousand. It doesn't even have 1 million people. I don't think. Canada is small too. So what are we thinking? And it's a baby boomer doing that shit.
Well, it's not what we're thinking. It's what that current administration and the Republican Party is thinking. I'm going to quit. You got to quit generalizing like that. Don't put me in that group of shit. I don't smell that bad. I shower every day. So let's keep the shit where the shit lies.
Well, hey, but
right now,
if
the
the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't.
It doesn't fit.
I'm going to make
the gloves don't fit either.
I'm going to make general statements. If it doesn't apply to you, take yourself out of it. But the reality of it is when I look at the state of the world, I can't say Gen Z did it. I can't say Gen X did it. Right. I can't say any of them.
I got you, but let's keep our focus. Right now, it's getting the Republican Party out of the White House. Stay focused. I totally agree with you.
Let's just hope that they all die of old age.
I can't save wait a minute, let me say this. I can't save what's going on in Eurasia, and I can't save the white rhinos, and I can't save what's happening all over, but I can do something here effectively in this country for this country. Let's stay focused. This is about turning over the Republican Party's interest in our administration right now. This is not about the world view at the present moment. Let's fix at home first. Let's get our house cleaned before we start talking about the world's house. Our house is filthy. We have a backed up toilet. We need to flush it. There's a whole lot of things that need to happen in this house before we start throwing bricks at the rest of the world.
That's what we do all the time, though. That's what we do all the time.
Well, let's start right here.
Well, okay, when your toilet overflows, where does the shit go? It goes over somewhere else. Right.
So get that plunger, man. Get that plunger, dude. Start plunging.
I think it's impossible to speak of our country without talking about the rest of the world.
No, I got you, man.
But we've been imperialists. We've been imperialists ever since I can remember. So we got interest all over the world.
I got you, but I'm going to tell you something about goals. Okay. And we all know about setting goals and achieving goals. The only way I was ever able to set a goal was to look at the very first thing in front of me that needed to be done. And I knew that I had to do that thing first before I could get that 4-year, 7-year, 10-year goal down the line. I had to do this first, no matter what. I could talk about all that's going to happen over there, but that ain't going to mean a damn thing unless I take care of this first thing right now.
But see, okay, I understand that.
Let me say something. Achieving goals, I'm not going to pat my back, but when I decided to go to college, I was already a grown person. I'd already done a few things in my life. At the age of 24, I said, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to devote myself, become a full-time student. I know exactly what I need to do. I was a horrible high school student, as you know, Marvin. I was never there, which is proof. I was someplace else.
I don't know you weren't there because I wasn't
with you some of the time.
Hey, how do I know you weren't there? Because I wasn't there.
Exactly. I was going to say, I was with you. We were never there. But you get the idea. And I said, hey, I know what I need to do. I need to do first things first. And right now, first things first are let's focus on overturning this Senate. Let's get Democratic or independent representatives in those Senate seats. Let's get the Republican Party removed from the White House. Let's squash this shit that's going on first. I like to do things first. I'm an organized person that way.
Well, I don't understand what you're because there's no loss of focus here. The conversation, the conversation is still about activism. I think
absolutely right.
So what I mean when you speak on other countries, like I'll go to a protest for Palestine. I mean, the thing is, we have to have that open mind to where we decide what we're going to support, right? But it all affects us here. Right.
I totally agree with you. But right now, my focus is red hats. My focus is very narrow right now. My focus is showing and demonstrating, understanding what exactly the Republican Party is doing.
Well, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you had a constructive conversation with a MAGA person? Because I can tell you when I had one.
It was probably... never, because I never had one. Let me finish. I'm going to answer your question because they go off the wall.
Okay,
immediately.
I had a conversation with this guy. He was walking into the post office. He had a veteran's hat. I said, "Thank you for your service," but he looked redneck like a motherfucker, right? and come to find out he was a Trumpster, right? And we didn't talk about politics, right? We talked about life. You know, he told me his life story. But my main reason for engaging this man was to show him that people that he doesn't like are just as good, if not better than him.
How do you know he didn't like you?
Well, I'm saying if he's a MAGA guy, there's some about me he don't like. I don't care.
He talked to you though.
He talked to me because we were both veterans, so we had a commonality, right?
Did you have a hat on too?
Pardon me?
Did you have a hat on?
No, but we had a common. He didn't have a MAGA hat. He had a Army hat. It said Army. It didn't say MAGA, and that's why I said thanks for your service. And then, you know, he was in the military. He told me his whole life story and stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is I've always tried to let people who I know are racist know that the people that they don't like aren't as bad as they think they are. And that's the I can't change their political minds. I can't. Because they're not that. They're kind of tonto. But I try.
Well,
you know, but
I'm accepting of anybody and everybody, no matter what, until they get to a point where they tell me I'm wrong because of politics or because of my race or origins or something like that. Otherwise, I don't care what you believe. You can believe whatever you want to believe. However, when your beliefs and your actions from your beliefs are influencing my potentials, my life, my children, my grandchildren, now we got a problem. Now your beliefs aren't just your beliefs. Your beliefs are intrusions into my life and into potentially my family. And now we have a problem. So I'm going to make it very clear again, what I said earlier. I'm looking at red hats. If you're a Republican and you are down with what's happening, you're not my friend.
But you're right now. You're saying that.
I'm saying that, and I mean that.
But
I'm drawing a line.
Okay, so let me ask you something. What do you suggest? Okay, give me an example of how you would change a MAGA person in, because you're talking about.
I wouldn't.
You just said.
You can't. They're racist, Marvin. MAGA people
hold on.
Racist, racist people. You can't change that.
So I misunderstood something you were saying. You said those are the ones we need to focus on. So in what way?
To get them out of the White House, to get them out of the Senate. I said that a million times. I'll say it again.
I thought you were talking about that.
Let me be very clear to everybody. My objective is real clear.
Well, I mean, everyone knows that, but I'm talking
structure.
Those aren't the ones we need to worry about. The rank and file are the everyday guy.
Rank and file is too stupid, Marvin. They're not going to do it.
They're not all.
The basic hat wearing rank and file are racist, ignorant people who don't care, Marvin. By ignorance, I don't mean they're beyond intellectual ability. I mean they don't want to learn. They don't want to explore open-mindedness, as you've already clearly say you are, and I know you are. I am too. But I'm not going to bump my head against the barn door as the bull's bumping it on the other side. That's crazy. That makes no sense.
But what you're saying about the politician, that's a given. That's like something that nobody did.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be expounded upon. Yeah, we got to
get them out.
We got to get them out.
And I've already said, I know there are Republicans who are not red hats. There's a lot of Republicans who are not red hats.
But they're
you
afraid.
Understand the distinction I'm making here. I've tried to make it clear, just like the red armbands of the Nazis. Okay, these red hats are people who don't give a damn about what's right, wrong, what's logical, illogical, good for the country. None of that matters to them. A white bigot doesn't care, period. A nationalist white Christian bigot does not care. I'm not going to change them. But there's a lot of Republican people out there who are not like that.
But I mean, if they're in a position of power right now,
right,
and they're Republican, and they claim not to be there like that, I tell me their name, because I don't think they exist. Because if they did, it's just as bad as the cop.
They're red hats.
It's just as bad as the cop letting the other cop beat up the kid.
Absolutely. All those Republican people right now in that regime are red hats. Straight out, Marvin.
All of them.
All of them. Every single one of them. That's why we've got to change the Senate. We've got to get them out. They have to be gone.
Oh yeah, that's
and there's a lot of Republicans who I've seen them come out and say, I voted for him twice. I'm sorry I did. I made a mistake. And I get that. I get that. I've liked people in the past who afterwards I go, oh shit, that guy's an asshole. But what are you going to do? You make mistakes. That's okay. A red hat, that's a whole different person, man. That's a different person.
You want them? You want them to all die, nigga, die.
I just want them out. I want them out of. No, I don't want them to be dead. I want them to be gone out of our institutions.
Yeah.
I want them to be gone out of our government. I don't want them dead. I want them over there, back in the closet.
No, they might be
in the vegetable cellars where they belong.
They might be useful as mulch or something. You know what I mean?
Hey,
we could use them to grow some non-GMO food and stuff. You know, use the fuckers' remains as fertilizer. It's called urea. But hey, good talk, guys.
Good talk. Yeah. Right on the money. Always good talking to you guys on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
What about the music?
It's on afterwards.
Oh, so
did you hear it?
Oh, well, so we can't hear it while we can't hear it.
I don't know.
That's the magic of post-production.
And that's our man. Is that hard to do? Editing this stuff? Is it hard?
No, because I'm a professional.
Oh, okay. Don't try this at home.
No, I have to do it at home. I have no choice.
Does it require any special equipment?
Just a special brain.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you guys are filmmakers. You guys are filmmakers.
Come on. You got to know who you're working with here. I'll just add a couple of things here, real quickly as you wrap up. I think the seriousness as a country that we can't minimize or trivialize what has been demonstrated here with this intelligence with the Senate and the Congress hearings today, that our intelligence of this country, it's laughable. It's with Pete Hegseth and all these folks. This is not even the B squad. I don't even know what you would call these people. It's an embarrassment. It's tragic to think that these folks are in positions of intelligence for our country. That's alarming. And secondly, as we've been having this podcast, I'm beginning all these pop-ups on my iPhone. And the stock market is once again cratering today. And Trump sometime this afternoon is going to be having some announcement again about tariffs for the auto industry. This guy has this thing about tariffs. He talks about something which he doesn't understand. I won't go down that highway right now.
Can I comment on that for a minute?
Not right now. And the problem that we have, we've barely into this administration for 60 days. This guy is an imbecile, and we have this intelligence community that has no intelligence, and we have the better part of 4 years ahead of us. Go ahead, David.
I don't think people understand what these tariffs are about and what really he's doing.
They do not, David.
Well, let me people don't understand this guy's history and how he's made his money. This man has made his money by creating businesses, then bankrupting these businesses and taking all the money out of the business.
That's what he's trying to do now.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Well, they also theorize that he's doing this too, because what's happening is a lot of companies they're becoming devalued. So get them really low. His billionaire friends come in, buy up all the stocks, prop the companies back up again, and make billions more.
Let me go you one better than that. They first bet on the fall.
Yeah.
And make that money, and then they buy it and bet on the rise.
Yeah.
So
they make money both ways.
Well, yeah, and that's how he makes his money. So this is not new. We need to pay attention to what's happening. And the reason I say yay when the stock market went down and crashed on, because that's what they get. But at the same time, look at the problem it's causing all over the world. Back to your earlier points, Marvin, you're right. Everything affects the world. But hey, folks, we have to focus on the red hats. Let's get them the hell out of our country.
Well, Elon Musk, I'd be watching these economists, and they say that if Tesla tanks, really low, he ain't gonna be the richest guy in the world no more. No. And that Tesla it shores up all his other businesses, so that if Tesla goes under, because people stop buying those swastika cars. So things are looking bad for Tesla. And you notice that Musk has been quiet for the last week and a half. What's going on with that?
No, he's been quietly begging for understanding. This lack of empathy person who has been running around saying weakness is the Americans' problem. They're empathetic. They give a shit too much. And now he's, it's just a car. Why do you want to hurt my car? Come on.
Yeah, I'll tell you, at these rallies I've gone to, people are more angered with Musk. I mean, it's kind of even kill, but the anger would be probably 60-40 Musk over Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of folks. Huh?
That's how Trump does it. He finds somebody else.
I mean, there's a lot of folks really upset with Elon Musk. A lot of folks are really upset with Musk.
Yeah, but like you're right, Dave. Trump, like my pillow guy. Anybody who hitches their wagon to Trump's is stupid as fuck. Right?
Well, you take America's mayor, Giuliani. But to your point, the pillow guy. You like to take these guys out for a beer and say, Rudy, I remember you. America's mayor. You go to Yankee Stadium, Mr. Mayor, the pillow guy.
Hey, did he go to prison and become a pillow biter?
You stupid.
Anyway, who are you guys thinking?
Well, because a bunch of his attorneys too got time and were on trial. So this one podcast was like, MAGA stands for making attorneys get attorneys, because all of them were getting in trouble.
Hey man, you swap around in the trough there with the hogs feeding. Eventually, you're gonna get some slop on you.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Big shit. All right.
Once again, guys,
this is the longest podcast we've done. We thank you for putting up with us. It was good to see you, and we'll see you next time right here on the porch.
And don't forget to attend your local town hall protest,
rally,
march. Go to
rallies.
Tesla
We can
destroy some cars. We don't care.
Yeah, Tesla.
Go. Hey, you see a Tesla? Throw a rock.
Oh no violence, no violence.
Oh, did I say that? I didn't.
Nobody. I didn't say that. You didn't say that. We didn't say that.
Nobody said nothing.
Hey guys, salute.
Peace.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Baby, you're my everything. I love you more than these material.